Nahmudu ala salihil kareem amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Let's Ponder with Dr. Suhail Anwar. If you like the video, please subscribe. As you know that we have got the main topic, which is reasons why Muslims are backward. This is the third episode in English. And the first reason which I'm going to discuss today is the problem with our education system. Lack of education, especially lack of mental education. I've done my humble research and a bit of Islamic philosophy, and I've come to the conclusion that finding answers to rational inquisitiveness increases faith, whereas insisting on that there is no doubt at all increases ignorance and arrogance, which in turn brews intolerance and violence. This is what my feeling is. Islam, as we know, is the most beautiful religion in the world. It first was given to Hazrat Adam al-Islam, and then afterwards, over the spans of thousands of years, it went through numerous prophets and became more beautified with time, and eventually came to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who gave this beautiful religion to us in a completely in complete form. There'll be no prophet after our beloved Prophet Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In many places in Quran, it says that we should ponder on the verses of Quran. I read in somewhere recently that Quran is like a wise teacher. The more you spend time with a teacher, the more the Quran will give or reveal its secrets to you. But there is a problem. If you speak English, for example, and your teacher doesn't speak English or doesn't understand English, or he speaks completely different language like Swahili language, African, and you don't understand that language. So we know that the basis of the communication or any friendship is the language. If the language is not there, 90% of the communication will break down. Therefore, in this situation, you will not be able to get the wise advices, or your teacher will not be able to reveal its secrets to you. That's because of the language. So therefore, you probably have to either learn the language and then understand what your teacher is saying. I'll give you another example. If you want to come to my house, and I'll say, why not? Good idea. I'll give you my address on a piece of paper, and those are the days, for example, there is no sat-nav or there is no map as well with him. On the day when he wants to come to my house, he opens the piece of paper, there is a problem. The language in which I've written my address is German language, and he doesn't understand German language. If he wants to come to my house, what will the first thing he's going to do? He is going to translate the German language into his own language, which he is comfortable with. And then he will be able to come to my house, because that address is going to guide him to my house. Same is the case with Quran. The Quran is in Arabic language. But there is a problem for non-Arabic speaking world, which is bigger than the Arabic speaking world. And that is, sometimes people don't understand the Arabic language. Therefore, if you learn Arabic and then read Quran, that's the best thing, which is sometimes not possible. Then you have to read the translation of the Quran in your own language which you are comfortable with. If you don't do that, you will not be able to understand Quran. Quran is the very detailed and complex address to take you to the destination you want to go, and that is Jannah. If you don't understand the map or the Quran address which Quran is telling you, you will not be able to reach to the destination you want to go. So it's very important to understand the Quran in the language you can understand properly. Now, and the Quran says the same thing as well. Why don't you ponder on my verses? Why is this happening? Why we don't understand the religion and somehow distracted from it, which is one of the major reasons why we are lagging behind in the world as well. And that is because of our old and obsolete education system. I say old and obsolete, it's not only me, there are quite a number of institutes who have come to the conclusion that today's education system is quite old and it's more of an industrialized way of teaching people. The best teaching system is in the Scandinavian countries, by the way, so I'm not going to go into detail of that at the moment. Children are the born inventor. They are the born creative thinker, and they have got the power of creativity. Why? Because they are not afraid of making mistakes. In our education system, in our mainstream education system, or especially, more importantly, in our religious education system, making mistakes is frowned upon. In fact, I'm ashamed to say that making mistakes, they sometimes beat you as well, badly, making mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you will not be able to come up with anything new, anything productive, or anything which is more creative. You have to make mistakes. And if you're not allowed to make mistake over the span of a year or two, you will not be able to have that ability. You de-learn that ability and you lose that ability of creative thinking or thinking out of the box, of course within limits. So therefore, this happens unfortunately in our way of teaching, especially in our religious way of teaching. There is a mindset of the teachers. There is a mindset of the curriculum. Once they have taken away the creativity of the students by the time they became teens, then they install their own curriculum, which is going on for hundreds of years, untested, unchallenged, and no room for wriggle. They give you that curriculum. If you ask them, if you ask the bigwigs of the religious institutes, not only Islamic, other religion as well, but prevalently more Islamic institutes, they will say it's us, the scholars, who's going to think on that. students are not allowed to think. They might not say that apparently, but they will. This is what they mean. They say our ancestors have already thought about it. Their ancestors and their ancestors have already thought about it, and this is going on for the last hundreds of years. This knowledge is coming down, and therefore they've already thought about it, and we don't have to think about it anymore, which I politely disagree. Because they might be perfectly right 800 years ago. Whatever they thought about it might be 80% might be right today as well. But 20% they might not be right today. Because if you take that knowledge in the religious texts and then compare it with the challenges of 21st century, you will see the mismatch. And this is one of the main important reasons why religiously we are lagging behind in the modern world race. So unfortunately, what happens in the madrasas and to some extent in the normal schooling system as well, that the children are educated out of their creative thinking. They are educated out of their ability to invent something. They are educated out of the way they think and the way they think out of the box. Unfortunately, they say it's perfectly all right, you should do that. This is the curriculum, learn it by heart and don't think about this. At the time of the examination, regurgitate everything and you'll pass and you'll get the certificate. They call it degree or they call it ijazah. Sad, very sad. There are few scholars I know who have not gone through this mainstream, you can say mainstream education system in the religious institutes, but they have got tremendous knowledge as compared to quite a number of those people who have got the degree. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? This is happening because the way we have been taught. There are three types of way we are taught, actually, especially in the religious institutes. Number one is they give you the curriculum, learn the curriculum by heart, don't go through the translations, don't do ifs and buts. They learn everything by heart. They have got no concept what they have learned. They go for the examination, they regurgitate everything, and they get the certificate. This is the worst form of teaching. And I'm very sad, and unfortunately, the best example of this type of teaching is Quran Hifz classes. In my research, more than 80% of the Huffaz which comes out, they have got no idea what they are talking about. They have got no idea of the translation. With time, maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, they might learn, but the percentage of those people who learn the translation are very less. And the rest of the majority of people, they just go the whole life without understanding. They learn Quran by heart, but they don't know what they're talking about. Sad. Second way of getting educated in the madrasas are, in the good madrasas, by the way. What I've just told you is the maximum number of madrasas is the first one. The second one is They give the curriculum, you go through the curriculum, you go through the translation, you sit down with your peers, discuss with them, but do not critically ponder on those subjects. They will not critically think on that. They will understand, they will translate, they will understand the translation as well, and they will take the exam and they will pass. In the first two which I've just said, I say this, especially the first one, I say this, it's an educational cloning of the graduates. What they do, they're just photocopy of each other. If you discuss topic with one, you don't have to discuss the same topic with 150 other graduates because they're going to say the same thing. The third one, which is the best way, is they give the curriculum, you go through the translation, discuss with your peers as well, and then critically think over it, and then have a rational discussion. And then the knowledge which you have, correlate that knowledge with the 21st century and see how you come up with. That is the way to critically read and understand and study Quran and the other books in the religion. But these type of people are very, very scarce, very less in number. But there are people who do this, but very less in number, unfortunately. So these are the three ways I feel. And it's a third way which Allah always say, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Why don't you ponder on my verses? You have to ponder on my verses. And by the way, Allah is not saying to the ulama, Allah is not saying to the scholars, Allah is saying straight to you and me. In conclusion, I hope that we will understand this and read Quran in this way. Quran is a treasure of knowledge waiting to be tapped, but waiting to be tapped in different era of the world. May Allah give us tawfiq and do that. The next episode would be, stay tuned, next episode would be the next other causes why the Muslims are backward, and I'll discuss on that inshallah. If you like it, please subscribe. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.